So the Republican Party is back in business with Roy Moore. What happened since they said we have to pull our money and we believe the women?
What happened was Donald Trump. Donald Trump's theory of life seems to be to win every day, win every second, win now, and worry about what may happen down the road later. But that's a problem. Imagine if Roy Moore goes to the U.S. Senate 1 week from today. He becomes the face of the Republican Party. He'll be in every political ad in 2018. He's on every ballot. And right now, there are 23 districts in Congress that are held by Republicans that Hillary Clinton carried. Those districts are in trouble. There's a big surge of suburban female voters. We've seen it. It's 5 or 6 points more for Democrats. We're in danger of losing the House. Even worse with Roy Moore. We could be trading one senator from Alabama for the House, for a few Senate seats, and even for impeachment.
Donald Trump, as reckless as he is, you would think that he and the Republican Party, who are now spending money down in Alabama, look at the polls and see clearly Roy Moore has a chance to win.
Yes, he does. He does, and I think that's for a couple of reasons. One is, human beings, we're very adaptable animals. We can get used to anything. We build things into the stock price, and it's been about 4 weeks now since Roy Moore scandal broke. But two, voters in Alabama are wondering, look, he did some terrible things, but Washington is on fire. The nation is in decline. The Democrat is the arsonist, and Roy Moore's a fireman. Why should we punish ourselves, the voters of Alabama, by sending a Democrat up there to vote against securing our borders, to raise our taxes, to undermine our economy, to weaken our national defense? And so Roy Moore has a very good chance of winning this race.
What's interesting about all of this is that many people in Congress, Mitch McConnell, Paul Ryan, many others say that they believe the women, and the women have credible allegations, and that the people surrounding this who are telling the stories are all credible, and yet they still want to support Roy Moore.
They do. And again, one thing we've learned over the years, we voters are a conceited lot. We don't think elections are about the candidates, even the political parties. We think elections are about us. What's good for us? Do we want someone up there at the end of the day who's going to vote against our interest, or do we want somebody who's going to vote for it? Yeah, the fireman may be a drunk and partied too hard and did some horrible things, but do we want the fireman or the arsonist? And that's the choice voters in Alabama seem to be struggling with, a choice between bad or worse.
Alex, do you think Democrats are silently cheering what the Republicans are doing with Roy Moore?
You're doing the wrong thing as a Republican when the Democrats are wearing red dresses and dancing in the streets. They are very happy that Roy Moore is surging in Alabama.
Because he's going to be the poster child, and they can hang everything on him for the next 2 years.
Chuck Schumer is thinking, I may have a shot at being Senate Majority Leader. Nancy Pelosi is thinking, I may get the House back. They are very happy.
So realistically, Alex, I know you sort of mentioned it, but realistically, the Democrats have to go a long way to get the Senate. I know it's a little better in the House, but do you really think the House is up for grabs in a year?
I didn't think so. I'd say until we began to see the results in some of these races like Virginia, where suburban female votes came out sometimes 20% higher. There is a reckoning. I think 2018 is going to be the year women grabbed back. It's all about Donald Trump. They're going to surge to the polls. Yes, I think Republicans are in danger of losing the House.
Where do you think all this Russian conversation goes with Donald Trump going forward? How much is that going to hurt him next year?
I think the Russian conversation is over. The new conversation is obstruction of justice. Democrats, I think, have figured out they don't have a case of collusion. There was no collusion with Russia because there was no Trump campaign. The Trump campaign was Donald Trump giving speeches and tweeting out things. How do you collude with the Russians on that? But the Democrats think they can stir the pot and make a case that Donald Trump tried to cover up the crime he didn't commit. And that's where the story seems to be going now.
Do you think there's any evidence of that?
I don't think so. We haven't seen it. Mueller hasn't come out with any of it. Mueller has gotten people for tax evasion. He's gotten people for lying to the FBI, but not for colluding on the election with the Russians.
Can you explain why Paul Manafort, after being told by the judge to sit there and don't talk to anybody, tries to cut a deal and write an op-ed piece with a Russian intelligence officer?
It would be easier for me to explain why rain falls straight up.
Yeah, that's a new one on me. Alex Castellanos, thanks for checking in. Have a good week.